to thank you. I want to give you all a hand. Thank you. We as Republicans downriver have a big job to do, and that's keep this man in office, okay? And I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. It takes money, okay? And we need to keep raising money because we need to keep the wolves where they belong, and that's in the forest and not in our party and not in the Camp River. So in order to keep them at bay, we have to do our job and help Jim raise money so we can keep Jim in Lansing defending our lifestyle and the way we love to live. So, the man of the hour, Jim DeSana.
Thanks, Doug. Thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. I know summertime and even into the late summer and fall like we're in right now is tough. There's a lot of people have things going, so I really appreciate you coming out. I want to make sure I make some introductions, and I'll probably end up almost introducing everybody in the room, so bear with me here a second. Judge Brown from Monroe, thank you for coming. And I'll probably announce some of my campaign staffers too. But we have two state representatives here tonight. Representative Neil Frisky from Charlevoix. And Representative Matt Maddock from Milford. Matt and Neil and I, along with 6 other of our colleagues, are members of the Freedom Caucus. And I won't go deep into that, but Freedom Caucus is all about trying to keep our freedom and liberty in our state and try to keep government in its lane so that you can enjoy your life and not be overtaxed, not be told that you can't use natural gas in your house, things like that, examples like that. Let me keep going around the room. We've got Mayor Tim Woolley from Taylor. Thank you, Mayor, for coming. Oh, Dr. Dawn Asper, my county commissioner from Ash Township. And then I'll go around and mention, let me mention also Bob Howie, who was a candidate for state rep in Trenton. And let me introduce some of my, I'm going to get to my family eventually, but let me introduce some of my campaign staff. So Cheryl Harris was back there, so she's probably still back there, my treasurer.
She ran away when you were in.
Yeah, she knew I was going to introduce her. She does fantastic. A treasurer, trust me, a treasurer is really important if you're running for office. Campaign extraordinaire Kevin Decker, campaign worker extraordinaire, and Kristen Armstrong, two of my best buds, and we knocked a lot of doors. And let me introduce Ann Clark, also from Wayne County, Wayne County Congressional District. Anybody else from the that is executive committee members from the congressional district that I missed? All right, I think I got it. Oh, all right. So I thank my father over there. He's coming up on his a birthday that's a big number. My mom right here, and Bill Hosnick. And my wife is right here. My wife's Stephanie. My sister Michelle. My sister Leslie is in the bathroom. Oh, there she is. With her grandson. And then I have my son Joe, my son John, my son Andrew is here somewhere. And the 3 boys are over there. And where's Jimmy at? Is he in that table too? Oh, and did I miss anybody? Oh, I missed Kate. Kate's here. I got Kate. So, Emily is in Virginia. Megan is in Flushing. Those are the only 2 missing, huh? Oh, and Maddie is rowing. So, and then a bunch of grandkids. So I won't. Well, are they all right here? Vera, Charlotte, Max, Vivian, Benny, and Pius. So, and honestly, the reason that I'm running for office and the reason that I'm in office and running again is because I have 15 grandkids And I just wonder what kind of a world are they going to live in? What kind of a country are they going to live in? Are they going to have any freedoms at all? You know, we talk about a lot of these issues. For instance, you've heard a lot about the green energy mandates and how the Dems want to do away with natural gas by 2027. And it's not possible. It's just not feasible. We would need to have solar panels the size of the state of Maryland within the state of Michigan. It's a tremendous number, and it still doesn't get us to where we need to get to, and it's not constant. In other words, you can't supply solar power at a constant rate. You can with natural gas, you can with nuclear, and you can with some other types of renewables, but wind is also not as reliable as they would like you to believe. We have days where it's windy and days where it's not windy at all. So the biggest problem I think we're facing is we're trying to do things too fast. There might be good reasons to have solar. There might be good reasons to have wind. And if you look at Michigan, we're not a highly rated state for solar. We don't have a high sun rating. In fact, we're at the bottom. If we were in New Mexico or Wyoming or Arizona or California, some places in California, solar probably makes more sense. And many of you know China is putting in 2 coal plants a week. 2 new coal plants a week in China. So they're ramping up with their coal power, and they're going to be supplying us solar panels so that we can put up solar and close all our coal plants. And what really makes no sense is to close down natural gas. We have so much natural gas, and so we're out, the Freedom Caucus is out fighting to try to keep our state from going so crazy on the power side. They were talking the other day that this is going to lower your monthly electric bill by $150. I don't know how anybody really believes that that's possible. Your electric rates are going to go up tremendously if we don't let the free market work and provide you with electricity and your energy. It's not going to work. We have got to stand up against them on this. Next thing I'll talk about, and many of you, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds on this, but election integrity. Really, we've kind of lost our way. Our system is completely broken. And people say, well, you know, how do you know there's fraud? And we've been digging into it as legislators, and we've been doing a little deeper dive into it. And trust me, there is a lot of fraud in our election process. We don't have a good handle on voter identification and the absentee process. We now have vote by mail. If many of you know, it's like 60% of the people vote by mail now. It's going to be even going higher. And if many of you are familiar with what happened in Muskegon, where there hasn't been widely reported, but there were 10,000 voter registrations, most of which were fake. And addresses going to Myers or Walmart or apartments or some of the craziest places you would think a ballot could go. But ballots were sent out. If those were added to the qualified voter file, they got an absentee ballot. And once that absentee ballot goes to your clerk, that's it. There's no other way to trace that ballot. So it goes in with yours and my ballot. And there's no way to know which one was mine, which one was yours. And there's no way to audit that. So we have to have a way to audit the ballot. And we have to have a way for people to know that their vote was counted. So I'm for a proposal where you can audit your vote. You can actually know that your vote was counted, and your clerk can tell you, oh yes, Jim, your ballot, we still have your copy of your ballot, it was counted, and it was counted for, I should have the right to actually know if it was counted correctly. Right now, we can't do that. So you're gonna see in about a week, in a week's time, I don't want to steal all the thunder from it. We haven't come out with a press release yet, but Proposal 2, which was kind of a disastrous proposal for our state because it does away with voter ID. It pretty much allows you to vote at the same day. You can move in and vote that day. It does away with any identification requirements anyway. So what Proposal 2 said was, in this ballot initiative, the people of Michigan mandated no voter ID would be required, and the traceability of the absentee ballots was basically wiped out. So we're going to be suing in court saying that the state legislature has the authority from the U.S. Constitution, and if you read up the U.S. Constitution, the state legislature only has the right to regulate the time, manner, and place of your election. So when we elect a president, when we elect our US senators, our congressmen, that's all supposed to be regulated by our state legislature. They took the authority away from us, and we feel we have a pretty strong case to win this back. That's the good news. The bad news is it's going to take 2 or 3 years. I don't know if we'll make it that far. But anyway, that's another thing that's happening. So green energy, fighting the green energy mandates, trying to get election integrity back, trying to make some sense out of our budget process. Many of you know, I don't know how many of you, I heard from a lot of people tonight said it took them a long time to get here. I came down 23 and down 275, tried to get off at Eureka Road, and it was a mess. We're working on, it seems like every single road all at once. Well, we spent $82.6 billion, and we totally ignored the roads. There's little pieces of money that they gave here and there, but we had a historic opportunity to fix a lot of roads, and I was for a proposal to give hundreds of millions, even over a billion, close to $2 billion, back to our counties and cities and townships to fix local roads, because we've taken so much money away from those townships and cities and counties. And we could not even get them to consider it. Instead, the money went to a cricket field in Troy, a boxing gym in Lansing, there's a minor league baseball stadium in there, but it wasn't mine, but minor league baseball stadium. There's a disc golf. Anybody have drones that they like to fly? You got a park somewhere in Michigan where they have a drone park if you like to fly a drone. I always thought you could fly a drone just over your yard, but they evidently, you have a park you can go to. So all these things were higher priorities than fixing our roads and bridges. So I am really big on the fact that our Michigan residents should get their roads fixed. That's what you pay your gas taxes for. That's what you pay your sales taxes on your gas for. That should go onto the roads. It should not be diverted to anything else. If we have to make the tough decisions on where those sales taxes are being pulled from, like they would say that the sales tax are pulled from our school fund, we've still got to put everything that's collected at the pump should go to the roads and bridges. And we're not doing that right now. I don't know if we'll ever do that, but I'll be fighting for you to make that happen. We are eventually going to have to address property tax reform at some point. People's property taxes are going to eat them alive. We're going to have to figure out. I have a bill that I dropped that will drop senior citizens' property taxes when they turn 65. I don't want people to lose their home or have to move out of their home because of their property taxes. We'll have to find a way to replace that income with maybe a tweak on the sales tax, but hopefully we'll be in power when we make that decision so we can do it equitably, and the government spending has to come down. And I'm going to tell you, we spent $82 billion this year. We most likely will not be spending $82 billion next year. I don't think we're going to have that kind of money. 11 billion was our excess this year. It's not going to be that next year. So I'm not going to be doom and gloom here tonight because I'm a positive, optimistic person, but next year the budget process is going to be much more difficult, and we're going to have some really tough choices to make, going right into the presidential election year. I think that's it. I don't want to go on forever. I thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. These are the types of events we have to just keep doing leading up into next November. And it was something I was trying to get done, and you know how that is. You dread having to schedule a bunch of events. My family has always been so supportive, so I'm very, very blessed. And I'm just thankful to God that when you have your health, you have your family, you can be optimistic. You don't be discouraged. I'm out there fighting for you. These guys are out there fighting for you, and we are not going to let you down. I'm always available, always approachable, and I'm willing to consider any aspect of what the problem is and solve it for you, and not to the benefit of some corporation out there in California or Washington State that thinks they know what's best for Michigan. I think we know what's best for Michigan, and I think it should benefit the people of the state of Michigan. Oh, I know what I would say. One thing I wanted to say, I haven't brought this proposal out, but my wife would probably agree. I think we should start selling Michigan water across the country because we have plenty of it. We could have bottled up a couple of 100 million. I saw the stats. Everybody in Carleton got their basement flooded. In the village of Carleton got their basement flooded, and it came up through the sewer. They had so much infiltration into their system, and I saw the numbers, and it was in the millions. They announced how many millions of gallons they pumped out of the system, and I'm like, wow, it wasn't clean water, so you probably wouldn't want to drink it. But we are inundated with water, so water is our resource. People are going to come to Michigan because we have one of the greatest resources in the world, one of the world's largest bodies of fresh water. And so we have to rely on what we have and not put ourselves in the poorhouse by just doing away with our whole energy industry and doing away with the natural gas industry. We can do this on a slower pace, get to where we need to get to, and tell the Dems, listen, slow down on all this green energy. How many people really believe that following the template that California has followed is going to bring people into our state? People are leaving California in droves. In fact, I saw a stat the other day. It said it would take till 2060 to replace all of the people that have left California over the last 25 years. That's how long it will take them to regain the population they've lost. And yet we're going to go and do everything that California is doing. Green energy, mandates, all kinds of new taxes for different things that don't help businesses. We have got to lower the cost of doing business in Michigan, lower the cost of living. We had Central Michigan, Eastern Michigan, and Western Michigan in our building yesterday, and their biggest concern is how are they going to have enough money to fund their sports with how expensive everything is. And they're looking to us as government officials, how can you help us? Well, we can nip around the edges and help them, but we're not going to be able to do much unless we bring down the cost of fuel, bring down the cost of everything from food. You all see how expensive food is becoming. It's not going down. So it's getting very, very difficult for the average family out there to live, work, and survive. And so I'm sympathetic for the families out there that are trying to meet a budget. When I go into that state house and we go into the chamber, I'm thinking about people and how much it costs them to live. And we are not going in the right direction as a state. If our population declines, it's going to be a lot more difficult to have a business in Michigan and to live and work in Michigan. So I appreciate everything and I appreciate all your support. Thank you so much.